Oh my goodness, look at that.
Look at that.
Hey Brandy, how are you?
I'm doing well, Chauncey. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, and welcome everybody to EMP Review. Today it is January 20th.
It is already
One?
insane. Yes.
Wow. So there are momentous things going on in the world today, but here we're gonna get our little cocoon of safety and welcome you aboard. I am joined as your host by Chef Brandy, entrepreneur whisperer, and just wonderful person all around. So Brandy, tell us what's going on today, what's happening. We're here. EMP Drea's off. Cam here helping us. Just invite these people into this world.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Meal Plan, where we step away from all of the craziness that is the world and business and in life and come around people who get us over a plant-based demo and some fun entrepreneur banter. So this is the EMP review. And Chauncey made a point not to mention, because he's a little resistant to this concept, it is not January here. It is KALEuary here, okay? We are diving deep into kale, exploring different ways to use this vegetable. And the reason we decided that kale was going to be our spokesperson for the month of January is because kale is a great source of vitamin C. Vitamin C, that thing that builds your immunity, that helps to activate the cognitive functions in your brain, and that, has been identified by the industry as a superfood. So there you have it.
You've really tried to test me today. These superfoods, look, if it's a plant, it's a superfood. Okay, can we? It is a marketing gimmick. Anyway, why are you doing this, Brandy? We're supposed to be light and happy today. Kale is fine. I don't hate kale. It's a thing. You see, doesn't mean I dislike it.
Oh my goodness.
Like you do, I do enjoy kale. I will have to say that. So this is, we only have 2 weeks left, Brandy, of KALEuary. So this week and then next week. So yeah. This time, what are you doing? What kind of kale recipe do we have today?
We're going to do kale pesto today. So pesto is something that people like. You tend to use basil traditionally in this recipe, but we're going to play around with swapping that basil out with kale.
And keep in mind, for more like this, everybody, all kinds of resources to find a community of like-minded individuals in entrepreneurship. Take care of your health, take care of your business, get some money flowing in to the coffers. You can join us, EMP membership. It's $30.23 a quarter.
So
that's a little over $120 a year. To get all of this, to be with us every week and more?
It's an investment that continues to give. Thank you, Chauncey.
Yes. Oh, it continues to get very good. So let's give it's called Kale Pesto. Very interesting. Kale Pesto Veggie Rice Medley. So, Brandy, you'll get that set up for the demo. And as that is happening, everybody, I'm going to go off cam, and you're going to enjoy some little interludes. Okay, Brandy, we'll see you on the flip side.
Sounds good. All right. So
All right.
we're going to do like Chauncey introduced.
So we are going to do like Chauncey introduced, and I am still muted.
So, like Chauncey said, we're going to be doing a
So, like
kale
Chauncey
pesto.
said, we're going to be doing a kale pesto veggie medley, right? So, this is a simple recipe. I literally am using up produce that I already have in the kitchen. So, to do anything else, I had a yellow squash available, half of an onion, and a couple of mushrooms, and I'm going to chop up, saute in the pan while I am making the sauce. I'm going to put everything together. Now, onions, you guys know I love cutting an onion. This onion is already cut halfway through, but just imagine if this onion had the other half of it. I cut it down the middle. Now we remember that we want to keep our friend on the back to keep everything intact. We're going to take this skin off. What we're going to do with this skin is we're going to put it into our broth bag. Once we get enough of it, we're going to take it and turn it into a yummy broth that we can use to season our food and extract some of the additional health benefits from these skins. Now, just cut off the tip. I'm going to cut these lines in here, lines through the back, but not through, because we don't do is lose that connecting item in the back. And the same thing's going to happen when we come from bottom to top. We're going to cut down, but not all the way back. Not all the way back. Right? Bam, 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 bam. Then we turn back around and we get these super easy, because that's what we like as entrepreneurs. We like to be efficient. And sometimes it sucks to set up systems. I'm currently in the process of setting up a few systems right now to make things a lot more efficient around the office. And the process is never really that fun, but the outcome from that investment is tends to be a really nice payoff. So just a little way to connect our relationship with food to our activities and business. So we got these onions cut up. I'm going to put these into the pan behind me that is already heated on medium. Should be able to hear that nice gentle sizzling over here. I'm gonna also throw in this good old squash too. Just get that cooking down while I slice up the mushrooms. Our good friend, the mushroom. Now, just literally gonna slice these. I know lots of people struggle with mushrooms. I don't know if it's the fact that they're literally fungus. I don't know if it's the fact that they've never been prepared properly, and so you don't have a good relationship with them. Mushrooms are not only a great source of umami, which is the savoriness that we look for in a dish. They also have a good amount of vitamin D because they are, in the ground and they're soaking up the sun. So they're a good source of natural vitamin D, or the hormone, so to say, vitamin D that all deficient these days. So yeah, mushrooms in general, though. I know a lot of times we hear about the cremini or the baby bala that I'm using right now. Sometimes recommended in order to make a burger of sorts. Of course, the white button mushroom is pretty popular. I think shiitake a little more accessible, as well as oyster, which has become like the new fun. Everybody loves mushrooms, but there's so many mushrooms, and mushrooms have lots of not only vitamin D and umami, they also have a lot of benefits for your brain and for immunity boosting. So just, if you are anti-mushrooms or you don't have a reason, you're not motivated to try them again, I would recommend considering using those health benefits as your motivation to give them another try. Okay, so with this good old kale pesto, what are we going to do? A bunch of cool stuff in this, mainly kale. Now, I I would traditionally use walnuts in this recipe, but just a basil, but we're going to use good old kale. I'm going to also put in some garlic, that lemon as well. And instead of the oil, I am using the juice of beans. Now, I did not have any traditional aquafaba, which comes from the garbanzo or the chickpea, right? Right? Didn't have any of that. So I drained a can of pinto beans. So I'm interested to see. I wouldn't make that swap if I was making something savory. Not savory, something sweet. And this is an assumption. I don't know. But since it's savory, I'm a little more cool taking a risk. So I'll let you know what that tastes like when it's all said and done. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, aquafaba is a liquid that acts as egg whites in the plant-based space. Traditionally or originally, I will say, it was the garbanzo bean that, and just funny, I just grabbed an orange, not a lemon. But anyway, I'm gonna, I'm gonna grab a lemon. Um, Even though that could be interesting, orange and pesto, I don't know, but I'm gonna stick with the original one. But aquafaba is the juice of the garbanzo bean that is used as an eggplant based base. And when I use an eggplant, literally you can put it into a blender with a little bit of cream of tartar and just blend it, and it will eventually turn to this white frothy, similar to egg white substance that you can use for stuff even like as technically involved as a meringue. Like it will down with the torch, how you get like those peaks of white egg whites on top of your good old lemon meringue pie, and then you take that torch and you burn it. It does the exact same thing. Over time, what we realized, we people playing with that in this space, is that bean juice from other beans works as well. So that's why I'm a little, I don't have such a big deal taking a risk with this pinto bean juice. I'm like, I've swapped cannellini beans. I've swapped navy beans, and I've gotten the same outcome. So let's just see what the good old pinto bean juice is gonna do. I just added a little salt, a little pepper, and this is the only place I'm actually adding salt into this recipe. FYI, you guys know we try to keep it low salt. I just always feel like I have salt in my pesto. I don't know what that's about. It's a brandy thing. So now I'm gonna mute for a second because this thing can get a little loud. Hold 1 minute while I put this on the blender. All right, we're back. And we're going to get inside of this blender so we can see what this pesto sauce is going to look like. and got a little bit of pesto. It's definitely a little looser than we would usually have it, but that's because I'm putting it in with a rice, and I really want this to coat the rice really well and also season those veggies that I have in the pan. But oh yeah, that's good. So and that garlic and that lemon is coming through so nicely. So I'm pouring this sauce into the pan to add some seasoning to the veggies, and to also lift off some of that caramelization off of the bottom of the pan, because like we always talk about, not using oil as much as we possibly can. So there was no oil used in this recipe either. Then I'll show you the rice medley that I have going right here. So this is a rice medley. It's different types of rice. It actually comes in a kit. I will drop the notes in a replay as the brand that this was, but it's a mix of brown rice, a mix of red rice, a mix of black rices all together, and it has a really nutty, bitey, nutty bite, I guess, to it when you're having it, which just gives like texture and flavor to the dish without having to add anything in it. Now, if you want an extra boost of flavor, you could always cook your grains with a broth. That just changes the dimension of the flavor outside of just doing it with water. Water works fine too, but the broth will take it up just a bit. I know lots of people have started to use chicken broth. You see a lot in grains to give it a little bit of a extra boost, but veggie broth does the same thing. I'm currently just combining together this rice, these veggies, this veggie medley, this good old pesto sauce, and as you see, it all is just coming together in a really fun and simple way, and I can't wait to taste this when we're all done. But what I'm going to do now is put it in a bowl so that you guys can get the final shot when it's all done, and meet you back over to answer questions shortly.
All right, there we go. Now we got to get this picture of this dish. It will be coming at the end. Ooh, I can see it because I have special privileges. So But it looked good even in that pot, Brandy. And now, any questions, of course, let us know. But I have a few questions, Brandy, and then we'll wrap this thing up and get to that final shot. First question, onions. Why are they in so many savory recipes? What's going on?
First off, they taste great. I know I'm a little biased, but they really are the basis of a dish. They give flavor and they complement a lot of other dishes to really make their beauty or their uniqueness shine. So it's one of the trilogy, the main dish trilogies in cooking. It's onion, carrot, and celery. So that's the onion is the savory part of the collection. The carrot is the sweet part of the collection, and the celery is the salty part of the collection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And garlic, a lot of garlic for you
Yes,
as well.
yes, I love garlic. I mean, garlic also is just good for you. On top of the fact that it adds a nice flavor to a dish. But if you've watched Entrepreneur Meal Plan, if you've never watched the Entrepreneur Meal Plan review, garlic is something that you do not want to overcook because it will make your whole dish bitter. But when done properly, it can add an amazing note into the dish.
Yeah. And EMP Drea wants to know, as usual, mushrooms. What can you replace them with?
Okay, so if you were going to make the dish that I was just having and you wanted to get rid of those yummy, umami-rich mushrooms, I would probably switch it out with a piece of broken up piece of chickpea for texture, like if we're talking about the texture piece. Or if you just wanted to swap it out with something, I'd probably do a red pepper. That would probably be my swap out, and probably roast it. I'd probably roast it first and then put it in there.
Yeah. Also, you know what? You can always try seaweed. You can always throw it in to add an interesting note and see what happens. Oh, okay. So another question, Brandy, talking about replacements. Instead of rice, could you replace it with a different kind of grain or starch?
Any grain. You could literally do that with a potato. You could do that with a corn. I guess if we want to call corn a starch, it's a debate between that one as a veggie as a starch. You could do it with corn. You could do it with quinoa, farro, couscous. I guess like literally anything would work for that. I've done it with.
I'm gonna break out my dictionary. Wait a minute. Yeah, and EMP Dre is saying cauliflower.
Especially like the cauliflower rice or just cauliflower. And it's funny. It's so funny that she brings up cauliflower because I was debating if I was going to do a cauliflower steak with pesto sauce, sauteed mushrooms, onions, and and the yellow squash initially. But my soul just wanted some rice, so the rice ended up winning when I finally put the dish together.
Absolutely. And EMP Drea says, love seaweed. See, I know a little bit. Now, you know what else, Brandy? You know what I was thinking? Because right now, everybody, I'm in the hash brown mood for some reason. I would do my oven hash browns, Brandy, and throw that on top of it.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. And then like the garlic that's in it, because like there's a nice amount of garlic, so that hash would soak that up so well, and then that crunchiness from the potato. Oh, that sounds delicious. I'm gonna have to come to your house. Grab some hash.
You know what was interesting too, Brandy? The way it kind of looked like you had guacamole from the kale. It was an interesting look there. So maybe that's something everybody can think about. If you want a different a substitution for guacamole, maybe use this and see what happens.
Yeah, interesting too. And just because we're talking about interesting substitutions for guac, I've also made guacamole successfully with peas, like instead of avocado. I was working with a client who was allergic to avocado. Go figure, that's a real allergy. And peas worked really well as a substitute. So that's another option.
Interesting. I like some peas. I haven't had peas in so long. Pea soup.
You know, I don't think I've ever had pea soup before.
Okay, so with that said, EMP Dre's going, what?
You know what it is? A lot of things come like the stuff that you had growing up. My mom never made pea soup, And then when I heard about like pea soup as an adult, it was like always served with ham. And so I stopped eating pork in the 5th grade. So that was
You
never
did.
yeah, I
You
did.
did. You did. Oh my goodness. Everybody, Brandy and I met in 9th grade,
Yes.
and Brandy came in. I was looking at her like, "You don't eat what?" I was like, "What do you eat?" It was so confusing. Anyway, so and then it would change. It would change. You were like,
I did not eat red meat. That was it.
"No, you didn't eat red meat."
That was the only thing. I didn't
But then there were other things you wouldn't eat,
Yeah,
and then you would eat it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I
It was
was trying things, There was a summer that I didn't drink any soda. I was just always that kid.
you were ahead of the curve, definitely way ahead. So another question for you. You talked about you need salt in your pesto. Is there a reason for that? Like, or also just broadly, when is salt absolutely necessary? Can you tell us?
So I mean, salt. They're accepted. This like, and it's weird because I feel like I'm like rebutting on all of the good stuff that I'm always saying, like no salt, limited salt, blah blah, blah, right? But for me, because I'm so like low to no salt, there's some things that I go, okay, I'm just gonna put salt in this. And pesto, it's something about when you don't put the salt in, it's the connection of, and traditionally with the basil, but even with the kale, the connection of like the garlic, the lemon, the nutritional yeast. Like I just feel like it's a little disconnected. But it's that the salt just kind of brings them all together for me. And it's still good without the salt, but it's something about the salt that's just like, if I'm gonna make the time to take the time to make pesto, it's not gonna happen that often. And when it does happen, I'm gonna put a little salt in it. So that's kind of my logic with like when I kind of go against my own rules is when I'm trying to bring all these things together. Now, could I figure out a way to do it without salt? I could. Maybe I could do some celery salt. I could take dehydrated celery, put that in there, which would be interesting. But yeah, that's when I usually go salt.
Yeah, celery can do it because it has salt. I mean,
Right,
it has
exactly.
sodium in it. So.
I mean, and potential, like, because lime zest is another thing. Like when I work with no salt, like no salt people who are super strict, lime zest becomes a really like lime actually activates the salt on your palate, so it kind of, if you don't want to add salt, you can put lime on something first. So that maybe could be a option too.
That sounds great. Because I'm one of those people, so I'm like, yeah, the lime and again, seaweed does it.
Oh, yeah.
It just suggests it.
It does suggest. Yeah, because it's the ocean. It's pulling in all of that ocean salt. So yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. And with your seaweed, everybody mix it in, or if you're using it, cook it. It changes the profile, just so you know. Because if you don't, you'll go, ooh.
Yeah, it'll be a little weird. It'll be good, but it'll be, oh my God, I'm eating seaweed with whatever this is. Yes.
Exactly. But when you cook it, it loses that. It does.
It does. Well. I agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, great. We agree. We all agree, Brandy, that EMP review is so important for our weekly lives. And we will be back next week, everybody, just so you know. It will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, January 27th of 2021. You'll be doing a kale soup, so not pea soup.
No, kale soup. But now
kale soup.
Like I need to put peas in it or something.
Oh, I don't know. Get creative. That's what.
Let's see what happens.
That's your specialty. What are you talking about? So, but before we say goodbye for all of that, Brandy, give us your EMP spiel. Let these people know what they can get.
Yeah, so Entrepreneur Meal Plan, guys, thank you first for joining us for the Entrepreneur Meal Plan review. We come here every Wednesday to help leaders find ways to simply add more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains to their diet. Step away from the craziness that is entrepreneurship and find some time to feed not only their businesses, but themselves. So Entrepreneur Meal Plan's foundation is built on this idea that we as leaders need to make sure that we're feeding our minds, bodies, and businesses well, so that the legacies that we're building can be enjoyed by us, not just the people that we're building them for. So in this community, what you're going to find is meal plans. You're also going to find shopping lists. You're going to find recipes. You're going to have access to these exciting weekly reviews. You're going to also have resources to help to build your business, special events. We have a couple of really fun partnerships going on right now. We have an attorney who's doing office hours for our members. Like once a week, you can go and ask her any question about your business, which is a entrepreneur meal plan benefit. We also if you are a member or if you're not a member, this might entice you. If you go to the Entrepreneur Meal Plan YouTube page right now, it'll be on Facebook. It'll be in the Facebook group later. But if you go to the Entrepreneur Meal Plan YouTube page right now, I have a preview of the recipes that are going to be included in next week's weekend. So if you haven't joined yet, you're like wondering like, what else do I get like in this membership? Check out those fun recipes that we have coming down the pipe with a whole bunch of other goodies. And guys, like Chauncey mentioned at the top of the show, $30.23 a quarter. Like, I mean, you're not going to Starbucks anymore because we're all in a house. So like, just reallocate that money here and do something great for your body and your business.
Yes. And can you give us the website again where we can sign up?
Yes, entrepreneurmealplan.com. And also, you could also find that link attached to our Instagram page, which is at Entrepreneur Meal Plan.
Wonderful. And that way we're guaranteeing it, you will do life and business well. So Brandy, thank you. We will end with an image of, oh my goodness, Kale Pesto Veggie Rice Medley. Here it comes, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, Brandy.